Welcome to your personalized deep dive. So take a second and picture your desk right now.
Oh yeah, it's probably a total mess.
Right. You've got maybe a high-powered work laptop, a custom desktop for heavy rendering, and maybe even a home server sitting there.
And trying to interact with all that horsepower is usually completely bottlenecked.
Exactly. By this plastic jungle of like 3 different mice and keyboards just fighting for mousepad space. So our mission today is to clear that jungle. We are unpacking a product page from HDTVSupply for a serious piece of hardware.
Yeah, it's the Smart-AVI SM-QKVM-4K-S 4-port HDMI KVM Multiview Switch.
Which is a mouthful. Why should you care about a box that sounds like a scanned barcode and costs $2,799?
Well, because this is honestly the ultimate hardware cure for digital workspace overload. I mean, it's an orchestration tool.
Okay, orchestration tool, I like that.
Yeah, it lets you seamlessly command 4 separate machines from just one single focal point. And the best part is you don't have to install any buggy software to make them talk to each other.
Right, because the core problem here is redundancy. Having 4 distinct machines shouldn't mean having 4 keyboards.
Exactly.
So this device basically funnels your one preferred USB keyboard and mouse, plus your shared USB 2.0 peripherals like a printer or a 4K camera.
Or a backup drive.
Yeah, right into whichever machine you need at that exact second. It feels kind of like sitting in a live TV broadcast booth, acting as the director choosing which camera feed goes live to the audience.
It does. But the crucial distinction from a broadcast booth is the active control part.
Oh, meaning you're actually driving the machine, not just looking at it.
Right. When you switch a feed, your keyboard inputs instantly route to that specific computer. So your desk physically declutters because your workflow is centralized at the hardware level.
And nothing is getting bogged down by network latency
Right.
or resource-heavy software running in the background.
Exactly. But switching is really only half the battle.
Yeah, tracking is the real hurdle. Because if I'm, say, writing an email on computer number 1, I still need to know if my timeline finished rendering on computer 3.
Or if a massive file download completed on computer 4.
Exactly. Now, the documentation says this solves that using 2 separate HDMI monitor outputs. One is dedicated to your active control, and the second is a dedicated preview screen for the others.
Which is super helpful.
Wait, I actually have to push back on that a little bit. If you cram 3 or 4 high-powered visual feeds onto one single preview screen, doesn't that usually just create a blurry, unreadable mess?
Normally, yes.
Yeah.
But unlike software solutions that force your computers to compress video and send it over a network, this switch has its own dedicated onboard processor.
Oh, so it handles the video scaling itself.
Yep, it scales the incoming 4K pixels independently. It processes the HDMI signals at native 3840 by 2160 resolution.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, the refresh rate is 30 Hz, which, isn't meant for high-speed competitive gaming.
Sure, you're not playing fast-paced shooters on this.
Right. But it is incredibly sharp for reading dense code, monitoring timelines, or just checking spreadsheets.
So the text actually stays crisp even when it's scaled down. And the source mentions a few different viewing modes to manage that screen real estate, right?
Yeah, there's quad mode for showing all 4 equally, dual mode for a side-by-side split, and by P mode.
Picture-in-picture.
Exactly, where you get one large main screen with 3 smaller thumbnails along the edge. You can even set user-defined frame rates for each individual input.
That is wild. The internal hardware is really doing all the heavy visual lifting.
Giving you absolute visual clarity over every machine without taxing their individual systems at all.
Which translates to professional-grade physical organization. You aren't digging through nested desktop menus to swap machines. You trigger instant switching right on the device.
Yeah, using physical tactile buttons on the front panel, simple keyboard hotkeys, or even RS-232 commands.
And that's a standard serial connection, allowing you to tie this switch directly into larger smart office automation systems. It just fundamentally shifts the human-computer interaction model.
It really does. Instead of physically moving between different workstations or drowning in cables, you create a singular master command station. The hardware serves your physical layout, not the other way around.
You truly become the director of your own digital studio. But, it leaves you with something to ponder.
What's that?
Well, as our personal and professional lives increasingly force us to juggle distinct, isolated devices and operating systems simultaneously.
Like the juggling act is real.
Yeah. Will hardware-level multi-device control centers eventually become standard issue for the average remote worker? Or will that $2,799 price tag ensure that seamless physical control remains just a high-end luxury?
Definitely something to think about the next time you're untangling the cords on your desk.